Hello, ladies. All right. Coming on live just a little early in order for us to be able to get everybody on tonight and have time to get everyone on. Welcome. I got lip gloss on my teeth. Hi, Selena. Just trying to get the lip gloss off, girls. Excuse me. Sorry. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are talking about the situationship syndrome. Situationship syndrome. Yep, that is our topic for the night. Let me make sure all my sound is up. All right, we are good to go with that. Okay, the situationship syndrome. That's what we're talking about tonight. Hi, thank you, love. Thank you. My Jazzy did my makeup tonight. My niece is a makeup artist, and so she did my makeup, and I think it looks great. She did such a good job. She does a great job. So I'm gonna get her going soon. Stay tuned for her videos and makeup and makeup services. Hey Gigi's, hey Jashura, hey love, hey Carlita, Sonique and Michelle, welcome, welcome, welcome. So tonight, chapter 5, can you believe we're 5 weeks in, girls, 5 weeks in, can you believe that? We're already on chapter 5 with Girl Talk Live coming back to do the book. We are talking about the situationship syndrome. So tonight, I need to put a warning label on tonight's conversation. Warning label. Tonight's conversation has to come with a warning label because it's about to get real. Okay, tonight we're about to talk about what's really going on out here in these dating streets, because there's no room for us to be beating around the bush and acting as if everybody's all perfect and living so godly and not having sex. We're going to talk about it tonight, girls, because I want to really discuss exactly why it is we're getting ourselves into these situationships, how it happens, why it happens, and why it's affecting our potential for true love. Okay? Because it's called the situationship syndrome. Chapter 5 tonight, the situationship syndrome. Many of you have the situationship syndrome, but you don't realize it. You don't realize it, okay? So share the video so we make sure all the GGs know that we're on tonight. I didn't even send out any email reminders, girls. I've been so lazy about stuff lately. I haven't even posted too many reminders about Girl Talk Live this week. I've just been busy. Warning, that's right, Carlito. Warning, warning. It's about to get real. This is about to get real tonight. Okay? To short, it's an easy read, quick read, fun read. You're going to catch up real quick. Okay, so chapter 5 tonight, the situationship syndrome. As I've started in the last few weeks, I'm going to start reading you just the first couple pages of the book because I want to explain what the situationship syndrome really is. Okay? So, a situationship is basically a pseudo relationship, a placebo masking itself as a formative relationship. It smells like a relationship. It sort of looks like a relationship. And it may even feel like one, but it's not. Okay? A major side effect of dating difficulties and having true connections is people settle for a semblance of love and companionship. Many women I meet often admit they ignored signs that a man wasn't ready, or they settled for less than God's best for their lives, mostly because they were lonely or hopeful it could become better. Many times we are also lazy about dating or even naive. We get ourselves in these situations because we don't vet these men before getting emotionally involved. We become comfortable with them over time. We are used to them, yet he is not your boyfriend or fiance. There is no commitment, you don't use titles, and you aren't in a relationship. You are in a situationship. Women are often in and out of these situationships, whether they are aware of it or not. Some of them last years, which really blur the lines, especially for women who feel these are real relationships. And yes, this is going on with women of faith, i.e. godly girls too. People aren't even dating anymore, just talking, catching feelings, sleeping together, and ending up in a situationship. I'm going to quote that one more time. People aren't even dating anymore, just talking, catching feelings, sleeping together, and ending up in a situationship. Okay, so first of all, we're going to start off with transparency tonight. Transparency being, who here can raise their hand and admit that they have found themselves in situationships, not even realizing that that's what they were doing, but by the time you came to your senses, you were like, uh-oh, wait a minute. Hey, Janice. Right? How many of you can own that you have been in a situationship before and you didn't even realize it? You were like, wait a minute. I thought we were kind of in a committed relationship. I thought that we go together. I thought you were my boyfriend. I mean, I know we didn't talk about that. I know we didn't hash that out exactly or say that, but I really thought that it was leading somewhere. I kind of thought that you were really into me and I was really into you, and I thought it was love. I thought it was more than just smash and dash. I thought it was more than hit it and quit it. Yes. And honestly, yet to sure says me, which has been all I've experienced since marriage. This is what's going on out here. So we can't talk about dating without talking about what's going on, because this is what's going on. And then as the repercussions, the results, the effects of situationships are pretty drastic, because that's what's called the situationship syndrome. You have a syndrome. If you've come through a series of situationships where you thought you were in a relationship with someone. And I'm going to start off with some really great couple stories here, okay, gals? Because this is why this went in the book. Because when I was matchmaking, this is where this experience comes from, why this chapter's in the book. When women would come to me for matchmaking, one of the things I started to become really aware of, when I would ask about your history, your relationship history, how many relationships have you been in? When was your last relationship? How long did it last? Why did you break up? When I ask these kind of questions, it's like when I was kind of more naive about how women classify these things, I would just ask those questions. You'd be like, yeah, that's why I'm with you. I broke up with my boyfriend last year. I thought we were going to get married. It didn't go anywhere. I'm just so tired of the dating and this whole scene. I just need to meet some different men. And I'm like, okay. But then I began to learn I had to ask more questions, girls. Why? Why'd you have to ask more questions, Rebecca? Because what I quickly realized is that women would call something where they were seeing someone for an extended period of time, only seeing that person, sleeping with that person, and they would be calling that their ex. Boo-boo, that's not your ex. If he never committed to you, he was never your boyfriend. If there was never a conversation where we are exclusive and mutually committed to each other, this is my boyfriend, I'm your lady, you're my man. If that has not happened, ladies, you weren't in a relationship. You were in a situationship. Now, here's the problem with situationships. Okay? Here's the problem. There is no lack of men who will hang out with you, spend time with you, act committed, do everything except commit. Kissing, cuddling, hanging, Netflix and chilling, going out, doing things. Literally everything that is included in a relationship, but they're not committed to you. So there's no lack. There is literally a gazillion men right now who will sleep with you, hang out with you, chill with you, but he could be doing that with 2 other women at the same time. He could be doing that and really like you, but he's in a space where he's not ready to commit. He's got hurt before. Men don't bounce back like women do. And a lot of the time these men will date you and date you and date you, but not commit. Now, here's where we run into a few problems, okay? And this is where what I describe as the situationship syndrome comes in. This comes in because a lot of the times the men that you are in a situationship with are out of your league. What did she say? What did Rebecca say? Did Rebecca just say that those men were out of my league? I'm gonna pause. Breathe, girls. Just breathe. It's gonna be okay. Just breathe. Now, I know this is gonna be harsh. It's gonna be hard tonight. It's gonna be rough. But I need you to just stick with me here, okay? Because a lot of the time, what's going on, men and women, I know I'm talking to the girls tonight, but you know this goes up on my YouTube and the men will be watching too. Fellas too. A lot of the time what happens when we're in these situationships is that we're dealing with people that we are attracted to and we want them more than they want us. That's why there's no commitment. I want you to really think about it for a second, okay? Now, I know that some of you are going to be like, no, Rebecca, he wasn't better than me. He wasn't out of my league, honey. I'm the bomb.com, boo-boo. He wasn't out of my league. Now, here's where this is the jagged little pill to swallow, okay? This is hard, girls, but I want you to hear me. There's a huge difference between the men that will screw you and hang out with you and the men who are going to put a ring on it. Big difference. Kim, someone's out of your league if they won't commit, if they're not into you. A lot of the time, and I go into a lot of detail in the book. Okay, so I'm going to try to follow along with the book so y'all don't try to kill me, okay? So I'm going to use me as an example, and I'm going to throw myself under the bus so that way you guys can listen to my experiences and see if you see yourself in this. For the married ladies who are on here with us, honey, just be glad you ain't out here in this dating world, honey, because it's crazy. It's crazy, okay? All right, so first section of this chapter, I talk about Mr. Gorgeous. Yeah, Mr. Gorgeous. So some of y'all are going to be able to relate to this because you've had these situationships. Something I'm about to say is going to resonate tonight because I'm sure you've had a very similar experience. Hey, Nika. Mr. Gorgeous. Right after my divorce and having zero dating experience, I met this very handsome man online, and we began having phone conversations frequently. Handsome doesn't really do him justice, ladies. He was fine. Fine. He was 6'5", smooth chocolate complexion, a brilliant white smile, and a lean, muscular physique. He looked like a model and was the most gorgeous man that I had ever met. For the sake of this story, we are going to call him Mr. Gorgeous. He was a struggling artist, pursuing a career in acting, was a little bit younger than me. Situationships tend to be rooted in lust. I'm going to say it one more time. Situationships tend to be rooted in lust. Hence, they are typically with men you find very attractive on some level who often don't meet other relationship requirements. I'm going to say that one more time. Somewhere along the line, you dealt with somebody who was super, super, super cute, and you were really into him, and you were thinking it could go somewhere, and it didn't go anywhere, right? Situationships tend to be rooted in lust. Hence, they are typically with men you find very attractive on some level who often don't meet other relationship requirements. Now, I'm not going to keep reading. You're going to read in your book, chapter 5, and do your homework at the end. But here's what I want to talk about Mr. Gorgeous. Part of the situationship syndrome is that you've dealt with people who would never marry you or never commit to you. But see, we don't understand that in our minds. And men, this goes for you too, because a lot of the time with men, it's your money that gives access to women that normally you would not be able to get without money. Men also with your looks, if you're really, really drop dead gorgeous, men can get women because they're drop dead gorgeous, but may not have a whole lot else going for themselves. And they wouldn't be able to get those women if they weren't drop dead gorgeous, right? Women, flip side. You've dealt with someone, he's drop dead gorgeous, but he doesn't have the other things you're looking for in a commitment. But you start falling for this person because it's rooted in lust. Now, what happens when we're just dealing with the first example of situationships. This is just the first one, ladies. Is when you're dealing with somebody super cute. Now what happens in your situationship syndrome is that going forward, everyone starts to get compared to Mr. Gorgeous. Ooh, I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone. You dated somebody super good looking. Oh God, he's so fine. Oh my God. Sex is incredible. Oh. But now it sets a standard in your life that is a false standard. Because now you begin to say, well, I want someone who looks like Mr. Gorgeous, but I want him to be husband material. I want him to be loyal and faithful and ready to settle down and hardworking with work ethic and love God and love me. And so, but the first standard you set became looking like Mr. Gorgeous. And you just said, well, he just wasn't the one. And this is the way the human mind works. You'll say, well, he wasn't it. He didn't have all the other qualities. But you start looking for someone who looks like Mr. Gorgeous, who has those qualities. Now, the problem with that, I'm still talking about me. Don't get upset. I'm still going to talk about me. The problem with that, ladies, is that a 6'5" guy that looked like my Mr. Gorgeous, who would have all those other qualities, and he was younger than me a little bit too, guess who he's going to be dating or who he would be crazy about? A little fitness model? A girl with six pack? Not a divorcee mother of almost three almost grown sons. Who am I talking to? And we don't like this because, see, our ego and our pride says, I'm just as good as anyone. I'm just as beautiful as her. Or I'm just as... But what we don't understand is that men have preferences just like we do. And just because they'll deal with you and just because they'll sleep with you and just because they like you doesn't mean they love you and doesn't mean they'll commit. And sure enough, the only women I've seen Mr. Gorgeous truly commit to in the years I knew him were fitness model chicks. Kim says me. Right, Kim? Kim's willing to be honest tonight. Because as women, we've also become very visual. And we're out here and we're going for the eye candy too. We're looking at the men and the models and the personal trainers and the entertainers and everybody and all these super fine men. And so we going for the eye candy too, just like women. But in the meantime, these are not men that are going to commit. These are not men that have the qualities of a husband. We're talking about apples and oranges, ladies. And this is what leads to the situationship syndrome. Because in the next chapter, I think we go into blessing blockers. Because these standards that you have set based on all of these situationships, not relationships, these men weren't really true potential candidates for marriage, for commitment. But in your mind, they were. So in your mind, you say, I deserve, I can get. I saw it time and time again through the agency when I was matchmaking. I would be talking to them, and one of the things we do is I say, send me some pictures of your exes. I would do it male and female clients. Send me some pictures of your exes. I need to see your taste. I need to see your type. I need to see what's been going on so I get a good understanding of your expectations. And women would send me pictures of these men that look like Shamara Moore and Tyrese and Idris Elba and what's his name? What's that one dude married with the light skin? Oh my God, I can't think of his name, girls. Girls, you know who I'm talking about. The one who's married to Parker with the light eyes. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I can't pull his name. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Okay. These women would actually send me pictures of men that I'm like, and being nice. Boris Kojo. Thank you, Tashura. Boris Kojo. These ladies, listen, over and over again, all these clients, they would send me these pictures of these dudes that those were their exes. And on a scale of 1 to 10, some of these clients would be 5, 6. I come from a different world. You know, when I was with my team for matchmaking, we deal with real, we don't sugarcoat things. I know everybody thinks they're a 10. Everybody thinks they're drop dead gorgeous. But men, that's not how men see things. That's not how men see things. And I'm literally looking at some of these pictures of the men that these women would send me, and I'm like, you a damn lie. Boo-boo. Now, come on. That is not your ex. You lying. And that's what made me start asking more questions, because I would be like, something ain't adding up. Because you don't look like a woman that those dudes would be with. I know men. I know what those dudes looking for. I know what them dudes. Somebody lying. And sure enough, when I would start asking more questions, girls, well, you know, we weren't really, yeah, you know, we broke up because... And 6 months later, he was engaged to someone else. So were you really? Wait. Well, I guess it wouldn't technically be a relationship because we weren't technically committed, but, you know, we were seeing each other for 3 years. Were you seeing other people? No. Was he seeing other people? I don't think so. I really don't think so. We were together all the time. I don't see how he even had time to see other people. There's women who say that, or dating a married man and they don't even know they dating a married man. He got so much time. She was side piece. Yes, Audrey, it's important to be attracted to your man. However, the situationship syndrome will have you being attracted to men that are totally out of your league, or boy toy types of men that will never get married. And just by you having a certain type, you're never going to be in a committed relationship or get married, because your type is F-boy. Your type is boy toy. Your type is this drop dead gorgeous dude who can have his pick of women and is a complete man whore because he can. And so just by looks alone, and I go into detail about that in the book, about certain heights of men and the percentage of men that are above certain heights and things, and how you're backing yourself into such a small corner. Thank you, Lauren. You're backing yourself into such a corner because you like a certain type of dude, and those type of dudes tend to be a certain way. It's not that all men cheat. It's just that the men you like are cheaters. It's not that all men don't settle down or ain't ready to settle down or aren't ready to get married. No, the men you've been liking don't like that. Aren't ready for that. Sandy says you have to be honest with yourself for sure. Exactly. Exactly. So the situationship syndrome will have you meeting someone or just swiping. What is it? Swiping left when you pass people up on Tinder or on Bumble or whatever, when you swipe left, like, the situationship syndrome will have you swiping past somebody that's the true potential to be your husband and your partner or your wife, talking to the men on YouTube. When, in realistically, who's really for you and that would be wonderful for you and truly compatible with you is someone that's mutually attractive on your level of attractiveness. But yet you've been reaching so high during dating and here's what's tricky for women, just like it's tricky for men. When you've opened yourself up to date these men, because they know the right words to say, they're saying all the right things. They know they don't come in and be like, girl, look, I'm about to woo you. I'm about to woo you. I'm about to say all the right things. And, look, I ain't about to be paying for a lot of stuff now. We ain't going to be doing a lot of dinners and stuff, but I know I'm so fine that, I ain't really got to do that. We maybe go out for one day for some sushi, and I'm going to be at your house chilling because I'm just that fine. And after we get done chilling, I'm going to kiss you right on that one little spot you got on your neck because I know what to do. I know what to do. Because they've mastered that game. And next thing you know, the lust has taken over. You find yourself dealing with someone, dating someone, sleeping with someone. Girls, and I'm just asking you to be real tonight. Asking you to be real tonight. The way you know if you're dating someone out of your league is you really, really in your gut know that you're more into them than they are into you. And they disappear, they're inconsistent, they don't always return your calls or text messages, but you still allow them to see you when they want to see you. It's on their terms. Someone is out of your league when you're doing more of the pursuing. They're out of your league. And if all it is sexual, all his conversations are centered around sex, everything that comes up in conversations is sexually related. He's not really trying to get to know you. He doesn't ask you any questions about yourself. He doesn't talk about a future. He doesn't talk about really trying to be with you consistently. Oh, how do you know when you're dating someone in your league? When you know that you're dating someone in your league, it's mutual interest, mutual communication, mutual interest. They're pursuing you just like you're pursuing them. They're into you like you're into them. So really your real true prospects are people who are actually being consistent, showing you interest. The sad part is, and I mentioned this on a post from Renee today, the sad part is it's so rare that you find someone who's mutually interested in you, that's really pursuing and showing interest, that sometimes we as women can forget how it's really supposed to be. And you've gotten so used to all the shenanigans that are going on out here that you forget how it really is when you're really into someone and they're really into you. Out of your league can be going down on standard 2 to all they have to offer is sex. Yes. My Mr. Gorgeous, he didn't have anything to offer but sex. He really didn't. He wasn't offering nothing but sex. And my dumb butt, just out of a marriage, never dated in my whole life, preacher's kid, been married my whole life. I didn't know. How do you think I became a relationship expert? I had these experiences and I start realizing I'm doing something wrong. This ain't right. And I don't have to go through a bunch of experiences to start figuring things out. I'm analytical. I start looking and saying, wait a minute. This don't add up. Megan says, I've been in a situationship for 7 years. By reading this book, I'm getting my mind right. All right, baby, get your mind right. Nikita says, yes, we forget and get too excited because we are just as susceptible to flattery and eye candy as men are. We're just as vulnerable to that. Don't for a second think that you are not vulnerable to that. It says, sure, that they have you on Dracula duty. You can only see them in the wee hours of the night. Right. Okay. My next example is the baller. The baller. This is the guy. We're still sticking with the situationship syndrome. Okay. This is all the things that lead up to you getting into a position where you've got a list that involves so many things based on these fake, fraudulent, counterfeit dudes who never committed, never did anything for you, but you've created standards and requirements for good guys to meet when these fraudulent, fake, counterfeit dudes had some of those qualities but didn't have all the other goodness that the good guys got. So now you're holding the good guys accountable to standards they can't meet because by definition, these situationship dudes only brought that to the table. That was pretty easy because they weren't all the other qualities you're really looking for in a partner, in a husband, in a relationship. Megan says he says all the right things and the wanting and longing to be loved. I'm confused on what it should be. And they are so good at that. My Mr. Gorgeous, listen, when he would feel me kind of slipping away, when I would start seeing someone get ready to be in a relationship with someone, he'd feel me start slipping away. Oh, here comes the phone calls. Oh, I'm just missing you. Oh, I just was thinking about you. Or here come the text messages. Oh, I heard this song today and made me think about you. This is us. Oh my God, I love this song. Have you heard this song before? I want you to think about me anytime you hear that song. Don't make me curse. Y'all know I curse. Really? And you'd be like, oh man. And of course the guy you're dating or getting to know that could lead to a relationship and commitment is not as fine as him. And you're like, oh God. But if he would just get it together, if he would just, girl, please. They ain't going nowhere. And they have a sixth sense to know. Second situationship syndrome, the baller. My next story involves a man who I thought had it all. He wasn't as fine as Mr. Gorgeous, but he was tall and good looking and wealthy. He played professional ball for some years and was retired. He also had great relationships with his family and went to... Girls, I'm sorry, my internet was acting crazy. Crazy. Sorry. I'm back. All right. Okay, back to Mr. Baller. My next story involves a man who I thought had it all. He wasn't as fine as Mr. Gorgeous, but he was tall. Oh, wait, I had one more quote from Mr. Gorgeous. He desired me. He didn't value me. There's a difference. That's one of the key points you can know about somebody. He desired me. He didn't value me. There's a difference. Okay, big difference. And that's one of the telltale signs of situationships. Strong lust, strong desire not value. All right, so Mr. Baller. My next story involves a man who I thought had it all. He wasn't as fine as Mr. Gorgeous, but he was tall, good looking, and wealthy. He played professional ball for some years and was retired. He also had great relationships with his family and went to church with his mother regularly. We began talking and dating. He began laying it on pretty thick. He wined and dined me. He had multiple luxury cars and homes. I would meet him in other states at one of his houses to spend long weekends. Money was not an issue whatsoever. I had my own money too, but his lifestyle was pretty lavish. At this point in my single life, I was really tired of dating and wanted a committed relationship that was leading to marriage. I would initiate conversations with him to see where his head was at and to gauge how ready he was for a relationship. See, I was getting smarter, girls. I was not satisfied with his answers. My feelings lessened as I began realizing he was a lot of fluff without much substance. It took me a minute to figure it out because of the shiny ball effect. All of the flashy cars and houses and flights and dinners and shopping had been so much fun that I lost focus on the things that really mattered to me. I also quickly discovered I wasn't the only woman he was doing all of this with. When I began asking really direct questions, I realized I wasn't in a relationship at all. This was another situationship that just seemed like a relationship. If you never have the commitment conversation, he isn't your boyfriend, period. After I broke it off with him, and notice I say it like we were breaking up. But if you were never officially together, you technically can't break up. I point this out because as a relationship coach and matchmaker, women often give me their relationship history with their exes, yet after more digging, it's apparent they've had a string of situationships, not actual relationships. And is it any wonder we get so hurt and damaged by these pseudo relationships? After all, we aren't built for this type of thing. Now, one of the effects of dating the baller, and some of you may be able to relate to this, and I'm going to be really real with this tonight. The side effect in situationship syndrome that comes after you date someone with money. He doesn't even have to be fine. This is just the baller experience. This is a man with money who is willing to come in, sweep you off your feet with money, do the most financially, and has really nice things. And all of a sudden you start to become very accustomed to this very, very wealthy lifestyle. And when I say very quickly, I mean very quickly. After I stopped seeing Mr. Baller, and gals, I'm just a simple gal from Ohio. I'm from the Midwest. I'm a meat and potatoes girl. I'm a down-to-earth girl, preacher's kid, you know. I would have to say he was the first person I'd ever dated that really had money like that. But understanding that I'm a really good-hearted, good person, right? And very down-to-earth. I think you guys have realized that. After dating Mr. Baller, I'll never forget, I stopped seeing him. I broke up. Can't break up with someone who's not your boyfriend. But I remember I was on the phone with a really, really good guy friend of mine. He was like my best guy friend. And I was telling him, I had a date with someone else, and I went out with this guy, and he was an engineer. Really, really nice guy. And smart, and he was a professor, he's an engineer, he was a really, really good guy. And I called, I didn't call my friend when I got home, but he called me because he was like, how'd your date go? You know, he knew that me and Mr. Baller had broke up. And he asked me about my date with the engineer. And I said, it was okay. You know, he's a nice guy. And he's like, oh, you don't really sound that into him. And I said, well, he drives a Ford Explorer. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. And my guy friend, this is why you need good friends, really good friends. He got really quiet and he was like, why did you say that? And I said, what do you mean? He said, why did you mention what kind of car he drives? And I was like, he's like, you've never talked like that before. And I was like, And literally he called me out. He was like, Rebecca, that's not how you are. You you're not a gold digger. You don't date men just because of what kind of car they drive or how much money they got. And I sat there and I listened to him, and girls, I was literally like, he's right. Oh my God. Why am I even thinking like this? Why am I even... And I realized in just one short experience, and this isn't all women's fault, because if a good girl like me can almost get corrupted, almost get turned into a gold digger, almost start dealing and judging from that kind of perspective, girls, that means it can happen to the best of us. I'm just being real, right? If I didn't have a really, really good friend who stopped me in my tracks and was like, oh, we are not about to go down that road where you only going to start dating dudes who drive Mercedes or do this or do... He's like, He's like, that is not you. Stop it. But just that quickly, in one situationship experience, I had added nice cars, nice houses, money, flights, trips, dinners. I had added all of that to my list, to my standards of what I thought I deserved or what I thought I wanted in a potential partner, in a relationship. And I'm like, oh my God. But listen, how many women, how many of you have experienced something in a situationship that literally nobody was there to check you about this? Nobody was there, because also if you don't talk about these kind of things, no one's able to even question you or check you. And if you don't have really good friends or no friends who know how to date, right, or have great morals and standards and values, there's nobody to check you. Lori said, that just happened to me today. OMG, right? Which is, remember the video I did, girls, on Ditch the List? That's where Ditch the List came from. Because what's happening is through these situationships, you're building more and more layers of expectations. More, you're just adding it on and adding it on and adding it on. And I want him to look like Mr. Gorgeous, and I want to have the money like Mr. Baller, and I want him to have the car like so-and-so, and I want him to have these degrees like that guy, and I want him to have this, I want the sex to be bomb like that guy, and before you know it, you have just layered and layered and layered this stuff on so thick, nobody meets the requirements. Nobody is going to be these men all in one. Nobody. Becca says, I was offered this a couple times. I would have been set for life, but it wasn't love. Exactly. Exactly why I didn't stick with Mr. Baller. It wasn't love. It wasn't love. So I went into talking about the nice guy. Then I talked about being the side chick. Being a side chick. That's another situationship that messes you up. For those of you who have found yourself, whether you knew it or not, being in a relationship or seeing somebody that had someone else or they were married, and I love to talk about this. Let me talk about this. There's a lot of women who end up dating a married man. And wives love to judge a woman dating a married man. But somebody's husband's out here doing it. It's somebody's husband doing it. The women aren't by themselves. And let me tell you something. The majority of women that find themselves in a situationship with a married man did not know he was married. It's not like these dudes come up and say to you, hi, by the way, I'm Derek, and by the way, I'm married. That's not what they do, girls. They'll be on a dating site just like everybody else, or they'll be on Facebook, but there's no pictures of the wife. They are out here presenting themselves to be single. Don't judge these women too harshly. Now, we know there are women who mess with married men knowingly, willingly, triflingly. Trifling. We know there's women like that. But there's also a lot of women who have met married men And these men presented themselves to be single, and these women caught feelings for this man, and they count on that, and they don't tell you the truth until you've caught feelings. Shore to Shore says, have one to this day that will swear he's single, met him on POF. When I was single, I met a married man. And that married man acted like he was single. And when I tell you, these guys will literally do the absolute most. That man wined and dined. He would send a car for me, or he would always pick me up. He was treating me. He was doing such nice things. He was sweet. He was consistent, long conversations on the phone. No sex. No sex. He already knew if he was trying to press, I would have been gone. No sex. They know how to play this game. Sandy says, that happened to me. We worked together and I asked him, was he married? He told me he wasn't married. I found out months later. And what these men do, ladies, is they will lay it on thick, get you emotionally involved, because they know that single men ain't doing all that. They know that single men are not being consistent. They're not calling. They're not having conversations. They're not pursuing. A married man will pursue you in a way that these single men don't. Until you meet a really, a great single guy who's really into you. But these married men will come after you. No lie. Come after you. So, being a side chick is another situationship syndrome. And what I've seen women do who get the situationship syndrome is they will literally now, okay, they finally get out of the situationship with the married man. They find out he's married. I found out this guy was married. Girls, woo, and I tell you, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I'm smarter than this. How the heck did I get caught up seeing somebody who was married? I was ashamed. I felt so ashamed and guilty. But at the same time, I'm like, I didn't know. And he would just lie straight to my face. It's like you could ask outright and it'd be like, no, I'm single. And come to find out they're married. And it's only when you get down the road a little bit that you start, wait a minute, 1 + 1 isn't equaling 2. What's going on with you? And he was married. And I was heartbroken. Because here we've gone, 3 and 4 months seeing each other, dinners and dates and having a blast. Having a blast. And come to find out you're married? And I was really catching feelings for this guy? That's just wrong. And then it's hard to cut them off. Because it's not like men are lining up to treat you like that. It's not like men are lining up to act right and do right and pursue you. Be there and be consistent to do all the stuff you want them to do. So, yeah. And when I say cutting him off was hard, it was hard. And they know that, which is why they wait to tell you. Due diligence, girls. Make sure you do your research. This is back before everything was on Google and social media and everything else. So do your research. So, being a side chick is another situationship syndrome that will set up false expectations for you. Because now you add those type of expectations. I want him to be consistent. I want him to be so available. I want him to send the car for me. I want these dinners and I want these long conversations. And I want all... Because these men overcompensate. Because they know they have to overcompensate, because when you find out they're married, you're going to get ghosted if they haven't laid it on super thick. Your average guy is going to take his time. He's going to pursue you and show interest, but he's going to take his time getting to know you. He doesn't have to lay it on super thick. You're mutually interested in each other, and it's organic and natural, and that's fine. That's beautiful. But these guys will lay it on thick. Short says, my discernment told me I researched his business, found his wife's name on the Facebook page. She was pregnant. He went from, I've never been married to, oh, I'm divorced and ashamed. Crazy. Married men waste your time and put your life in danger. You don't know who he's married, and his wife finds out about you. That woman could be crazy. Exactly. Exactly. Another situationship syndrome. And in the meantime, all of these experiences, girls, put you in a situation where when a good man comes along who truly wants to love you, you have difficulty receiving and accepting love. When a good man comes along who truly wants to love you, you have difficulty receiving and accepting love because you've had all of these experiences that are not love. It's lust, it's desire, it's a lot of things, but it's not love. And so literally the real thing is coming along and you'll block your blessings. You will literally block your blessings. As I said, it isn't realistic that one man can embody what it took 5 different men to give you. Who am I talking to tonight? It isn't realistic that one man can embody what it took 5 different men to give you. I hope that resonates with someone. Because for some of you, you've got expectations built up over time. And here's the other thing. A lot of you will put things on that list and your expectations based on what you don't want. So you'll keep adding based on what you didn't get from the other guy. And you'll keep adding based on, well, that didn't work, so now I count those guys out. I've had clients and women that will literally completely dismiss, reject somebody because that person reminds them of an ex. And it's like, but he's not your ex. So, oh, you don't want to date men with small children because that one guy you dated with small children, it was really a bad situation or difficult. It's not really fair because you don't know what God has for you and you don't know how God is choosing to bless you. And here's the thing. Until I met Carrie Poe, I didn't realize what I needed because, like most of you, I had never truly experienced deep, deep, deep mutual love. Mutual love. And in love. And if you haven't experienced deep, deep, deep soulmate love, you really don't have a point of reference. You don't have anything to compare it to. So you'll do your best coming up with these theories of what it should be or what you want it to be and what's right for you. But you really don't know until you experience it. Yeah, I used to joke if I rake these 3 men and roll them together, I would have the man I want. I used to feel that same way when I was dating. The same way. And it wasn't until I met Mr. Pope that I was like, oh my God, this is the way it's supposed to be. That he's everything. That stuff I didn't even know I needed, girls. So your list will have all this stuff on it that you think you need and think you want. Until you meet the right person and you realize some of this stuff you had was so dumb. And at the end of the day, you couldn't even put some of these things on your list because you've never had it. So how would you even know to ask for it? Makes sense, right? Which is why I tell women all the time when you're saying, write the vision and make it plain. And you're writing out everything you want them to be. And you got these lists that are a mile long. And that does not work when it comes to soulmate love. It doesn't work. Because you can write those lists all day long and still not get to what you really need because you don't know yourself as well as you think you do because you haven't experienced it. And if you haven't met someone like that, how do you know to even need that? You didn't know you needed that. Real talk. And because most of us have types, most of us have things that do it for us. Even if it's not physically, it's certain qualities that we really look for, that we really love about certain people. And so we will tend to kind of keep choosing the same genre of men and women. We'll stay kind of in this pocket. But then we wonder why we keep getting the same results. And you'll say, oh, but Rebecca, I don't like, a square guy, and I don't like, a blue collar guy, and I don't like, this or that. And it's like, but girl, at the end of the day, you're so oversimplifying things because you're lumping all these people into each category, and these are individuals. I used to say I would never marry a pastor. Never marry a pastor. I did not want to marry my daddy, and I didn't want to be in ministry. I was running from that. So of course I didn't want to marry a pastor. And I said for years, I never want to marry a pastor. I never even want to date a pastor. And the whole time, Carrie Pope, a pastor, was my soulmate. And all that time I was blocking my blessings. Because out of my own mouth, I'm saying I'll never marry a pastor. And as long as I kept saying that, it didn't come. And doesn't that make sense? Blocking your blessings. All right, next week, dating while damaged. Dating while damaged. Melinda says, new list. I want what God has for me. That's number 1. 2, soulmate love. 3, at least 6 foot. I'm just saying. All right, honey. And I know you, that's coming down off your original requirements. Right? How about if you just stick with the first 2? I want what God has for me, and I want soulmate love. God will give you the desires of your heart. Even if he's a little shorter than that, you'll be absolutely crazy about him, honey. And he'll love you from the crown of your head to the sole of your feet, and a couple inches won't matter. I promise. And that's the thing. Most of us have never really, truly been deeply loved. And when you're really, really deeply loved, some of this stuff really doesn't matter. Real talk. Right? All right, dating while damaged. Next week, chapter 6. Do your homework from chapter 5. Read chapter 6. There's homework in the back of chapter 5. Make sure you do your homework. And then chapter 6 next week, dating while damaged. We're going to talk about the problem with dating when you're damaged, while you're hurting, while you're recovering. You haven't even taken the time to deal with your issues and get help and all of that, but you're ready to date. No. So we're going to talk about that next week. All right. Love you, love you, love you. Make sure you join the Divine Circle. We're really just revving up with our dating series in the Divine Circle. If you are needing accountability, if you're needing mentoring, if you are needing accountability to level up in love, peace, purpose, health, and wealth, make sure you join the Divine Circle. That does come with a power session with me every month. You actually talk to me once a month when you are in the Divine Circle to be held accountable to the greater good, your divine purpose, and the abundant life path, which includes love. So we have just started the dating series. We're just really revving up. So make sure you join us in there. You can get caught up and join us. You're welcome, Keisha. Love you, girls. Blessings and abundance. Next week, same time, 7 o'clock Thursday, Girl Talk Live, Dating While Damaged, chapter 6. Okay? And make sure you get your books. There's a link up above so you can get caught up. It's an easy read and it's fun. All right. Love you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.